which quarterbacks could be traded. We could agree Joe Burrow's not going to get traded. I've said it 1,000 times. There's no way on God's green earth Joe Burrow is getting traded. Nod your head if you're in agreement. We're all in agreement here.
Unless
Joe Burrow
like,
is.
Here's 7 first-round picks or something like that's just literally insane.
You can't trade 7 first-round picks. It won't be 7 first-round picks. He is not in any way getting traded. However, I think Kyler is. It's just because it's easier to trade him financially than cut him. This is just me, and I could be wrong, Charles. You're making a face. And if you have insight, then I want to hear it. But it is easier, we agree, financially to trade him than to cut him. But the question would be, which team or coach says, I
want that.
Want him as my guy. I want him to be the guy in the front of the room and running out of the tunnel first for me, and I'm putting my name on it.
Yeah, I mean, the financial ramifications, yes, a trade is definitely in their best interest. But number one, that's assuming an acquiring team doesn't say, we're not paying all this money. Like, you're going to have to figure out something here because we're not going to pay all that 80% salary.
Of it, sure.
Yeah, you want to eat some of that? That's fine, but we're not going to do this the way it's currently structured. And then once you get past the financial part of it, you have to get to, what was he in Arizona? Was he a good teammate? Was he a hard worker? Where did he show the upsides and why did it never last? Is he healthy? Man, we're getting down the list. And oh, by the way, there's still a bias. I will just say it. There's still a bias in the NFL where people are going to look at Kyler and go, he's small. He's too small. I don't want a quarterback that small. And he hasn't proven that he can be consistently successful at that size on this level. So why? What would be the reasoning, to go and hang your neck out on a Kyler Murray at this point, particularly if the Arizona Cardinals are actually trying to deal that salary, which is another reason why I think there's a chance he ends up remaining in Arizona, because I don't see the ease of moving him. And then, oh, by the way, replacing him. What are you replacing him with? Like, it's in some ways I revisit the Kirk Cousins situation in Atlanta, and where we were all like, oh, they're getting rid of him. They already paid him the money. And you know what? The Falcons sat there and they said, well, we got to go get a backup then if we let this guy go. And by the way, Michael Penix has shown over the course of his entire football career in college that he could be injury prone. And hey, look what happened. And Kirk Cousins was starting at the end of the season. That's why you keep the guy, because there's just no sense to eat the money, deal him for probably nothing, and then at the same time, or cut him and watch someone else pick him up, and then you got to go play backup. I think Arizona, that's all the same problems. Whereas if you keep Kyler for a year, maybe things change on the landscape. And again, I think the 2027 class is going to be absolutely loaded with quarterbacks.
Okay, so
by the way, one real quick thing on the quarterback carousel, Andrew, if I could, real quick. We haven't even talked about, well, Atlanta doesn't know if Penix is ready for week 1. They might have to go get a veteran. The Vikings have already talked about going to get a veteran. Indianapolis, what if Daniel Jones doesn't come along as quick as they want? You really want Anthony Richardson starting the first month of the season? You have not just teams looking for starters. You have teams who are like, we really need a good veteran backup. Good luck with that. Have fun. Enjoy.
And there's only one surefire starter, we believe, and a lot could change. Some people, I'm going to keep pounding the table for Garrett Nussmeier. Trust me, by the time we get to the 23rd of April, Garrett Nussmeier's name will be in this conversation. Ty Simpson, people are going to be, they're going to have CSI right elbow injury for Ty Simpson to see if he's healthy and if he's okay. I mean, we have all these storylines here by the time we get to the combine in a couple of weeks. Let's just make up a trade. Arizona's picking 3. They have the second pick in the second round at 34. Would you offer, Frank, if you're Monty Ossenfort, 334 and next year's number 1 to go up 2?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I would. I would, but I don't think the Raiders are biting on that. I think they're dug in. I think Mendoza's their guy. But yes, why not? Like, you have no answer at quarterback. Absolutely none. He gives you a path. Like, if the Raiders are selling, I'd be buying. If I was any of those teams I've mentioned, any of them, I'd be buying.
Yeah, I would definitely. I'd probably throw more than that, honestly. Again, Monty Ossenfort. I know Monty. Talk to Monty every offseason. I go in there at camp, and it's not a great position to be in right now for Monty Ossenfort. Like, something has to click here. And at the very least, if you're going to move away from Kyler, whatever you replace him with absolutely has to be the type of player where now you are forecasting a horizon that's workable. Mendoza does that for you. I truly believe that. And by the way, I cannot think of a person or a personality. Look, all due respect to Kyler, but I can't think of a person or a personality who's more opposite than Kyler Murray at this point. I think that's what you would be selling. So if you're Monty Ossenfort, you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, maybe we give you the 3, maybe we give you 2 more firsts just to get from 3 to 1, because I'm not going to be here to spend them next offseason if this doesn't work out. If we go back to, the assembly line with Kyler again, and this breaks down, I'm probably gone next offseason anyway. So if the Raiders actually pick the phone up,
can you imagine how disheartening it would be to the Cardinals to be like, our week 1 starting quarterback? You remember Kyler Murray? Like, oh my goodness.
They've sold that. They've sold that 2 off seasons, right?
I know. You can't do it again. You can't. The guy who basically benched and then went AWOL.
But by the way, here's part of what I think might keep Kyler in Arizona. You changed out at the offensive coordinator spot, right? Like, you can sit there and say, well, maybe it was a Drew Petzing problem. Like, if you can work it in your mind and say, maybe I'm not saying it was a Drew Petzing. By the way, I'm not saying that at all. I like Drew.
I know this is a sales pitch.
But I'm saying you're trying to sell it to yourself. You're trying to sell it to the owner to get yourself in a space where this is what we got to do. So we have to figure out a way to create a narrative that makes this, makes some sense to people, even if it doesn't.
Yeah, all right. The Kyler thing is going to be huge in the offseason because I think I think everyone would appreciate some kind of closure, but I don't know that there's an obvious road to closure, and therein lies the rub.